Hello and welcome to the Geeks Review. I'm Royce.
And I'm Joshua.
Today we'll be doing a wrap-up of WandaVision. I'll be talking Taskmaster, and I'll also be reviewing Chaos Walking. Chaos Walking is a young adult sci-fi adventure movie based on a novel series of the same name written by Patrick Ness. It stars Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland and is set on an alien world, following a human colony in the 23rd century. The women were supposedly all killed in an alien war years before, and the men are reflected with the noise, a force that puts their every thought on display. One day, a ship from Earth crash lands and the sole survivor, a young woman named Viola, played by Daisy Ridley, is targeted by the men and their leader Prentice, played by Mads Mikkelsen. Viola teams up with Tom Holland's Todd, who joins her in escaping through the alien forest to send a distress signal off-world. Now, going into this, I hadn't read the books, I only kind of knew the basic premise of this, and I will say going in like that with an open mind, I did quite like this. It was probably mostly down to the actors, they kind of do a lot of the heavy lifting here. But the story and the setup, the concept, it's explained really well. I did sort of think it would be like a bit Lord of the Flies, like with all just these young boys. I know Nick Jonas was in this, but there are adults, on this planet as well. The thoughts being visible to all and like audible to all is a really interesting and terrifying concept. And the way they do that, it's like visualized in this sort of oil on water kind of effect. And the way they actually have the thoughts occur is really authentic, I thought. It sort of feels very naturalistic and real. And it does mean you then get 90 minutes nearly of Tom Holland muttering to himself and sort of repeating himself because, it's his thoughts and all that. But it feels authentic and I really appreciate that. So I'd give it, that a solid A for depicting that when a lot of shows, tend to go for a more, like peep show approach, where it's more structured, more jokes, all that sort of stuff. There is a trailer or a preview posted online marketing this film where Tom Holland's character imagines a intimate moment with Daisy Ridley's character and she sees it and is horrified. And that's what's so terrifying, about this whole thing. And I was kind of worried going into this there would be similar stuff, but fortunately, there isn't. So, it does keep things relatively stress-free. It doesn't go into like pure horror and awful stuff like this. This is based upon a kid's book still, it's still
young adult.
But yes, I'm glad there's no romance in this. I'm sick of seeing Daisy Ridley with boring white boys. So, that was a massive relief. Yeah, even just the dialogue between the two of them felt really natural. And some of their most iconic characters do sort of bleed through. It seems like after 3 Star Wars films, Daisy Ridley is still crawling around decrepit, crashed alien, spaceships. And there's this moment where Tom Holland just like leaps over a log. And it's like, he just bounces over it and it's like Spider-Man.
Well, he was a gymnast.
He was, yeah, and just so effortless and really good on that front. And there's a few things with her character as well, where, she is like part of this search party, so she's obviously a competent, survivalist, scout, all that sort of stuff. So she can do this stuff, and I don't have any issue with that. But I was kind of like, oh, cool, what's a story with the book? I looked up the book, and holy hell, this has got nothing to do with the book whatsoever. In the books, the characters are both 12 years old. And there's a big secret about, the lack of women on this planet, which you learn, or which Todd learns fairly early on, when he's about to turn 13, over the kids, adults, as they become men, learn a version of the history. And it's quite different to what really happened. And I won't say what it is, but reading the plot synopsis of the novels, you can recognise elements, but it's so different. It's almost like a comic book adaptation in that way. Like, they take more loose inspiration from the source material as opposed to the thing. And this film was in production hell for like 4 years. They shot this back in 2017, before The Last Jedi even came out, and they had to do reshoots, and then obviously COVID happened. 2017, that's even before like Endgame and Infinity War. So for fans of the book, Chaos Walking, this is going to be a horrible film. It's, sort of makes The Golden Compass and all that and Artemis Fowl look like they got off easy in regards to adaptations. It's just so different, and it makes me wonder what the hell happened with Harry Potter that it got so accurate.
Maybe creative input from a very controlling woman.
Potentially.
Not in that sense. Creators control. Creators
Yes.
control. There we go. That's a better wording.
Yeah, well, I mean, God, the writing credits on this, like Charlie Kaufman of, Eternal Sunshine for the Spotless Mind and Adaptation, wrote a draft of this, and who knows how much of that existed, but, the original author also had a hand in this. Yeah, I'd say, for newcomers, it's solid enough, but,
No, it's another book adaptation going wrong, by the
Yeah.
sounds of it.
But otherwise, solid enough film, and it's, it's not great, it's not groundbreaking, but it's good, and it's like, you can sit down, you can enjoy this, and have a good time. See, that's Chaos Walking.
Chaos Walking.
Now, on to WandaVision. So this is the superhero series. It was streaming on Disney Plus. It stars Elizabeth Olsen, who a lot of people, turns out, didn't realise was the younger sister of Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen. I mean, she's called Olsen. She looks exactly like him, and like people didn't put the two and two together.
It's because she's more in the limelight than her sister.
True. Also stars Paul Bettany, Catherine Hahn, Teyonah Parris, Randall Park, and Kat Dennings.
And not to mention Peter Evans.
Yes, true that. So this is set after the Avengers films. It's essentially like an extended Marvel film in a way, more than it is like an episodic thing. Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, and Vision, the android, are married and they're in a sitcom situation. And we learn as the episodes go on, it's actually sort of a grief-stricken hallucination projection. And the government agency or para-government agency are trying to sort it out in their own not so good way.
Yeah.
That's kind of the loosest description. We will be talking spoilers and stuff.
Oh yeah, it's finished. It's been
Several weeks now.
So the gloves are coming off.
Yes. So your thoughts?
Going back and watching this, I've noticed a few minor details that I thought, oh my god, that's actually pretty clever. How the aspect ratio changes when they swap between the sitcom and the reality, and then within the sitcom reality, the aspect ratio changes once she enters into a certain location. Subtle references to the comics and how her powers really work. Not so keen on the actual witch side of it, but whatever, Scarlet Witch. Let's just lean in on the witch, and she wears red because that's what her powers look like, and authentic. Yes. I was a little disappointed that there was no creative flow for X-Men coming through, but how they did Peter Evans, yeah. I'll give them that one. Well done.
It's kind of a Mandarin situation, what they did with him, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sort of glad that they didn't go the X-Men Mutants route, because I mean, everything sort of was becoming a springboard at that point for something else.
Yeah.
So I'm just glad that this was its own thing and gives opportunities to expand upon it in future to go that route if they do. I'm still of the belief that, they can just say they've been there all along and there's no, multiverse shenanigans going on. But yeah, that was just kind of the expectation. Everyone was like, there's going to be multiverse stuff. She's going to be in the Strange film. There's going to be lead-ups to this, but I'm just glad it was its own thing. And
very much so. I mean, I do like the little nod to Doctor Strange at the end with her astral projecting and doing something else.
Yeah, I mean, mentions to the Sorcerer Supreme directly is, pretty... It puts it in that sort of field as opposed to, something more scientific.
Definitely bringing the more magical side of things more to the forefront now, which is nice.
Yeah, it's crazy for so long with this series. It's been like, science-based, science. No one's going to believe magic, and it's like aliens, Aliens are fine, but magic is too much,
Well, science that we don't understand can easily be mistaken for magic.
Well, Thor, the fourth film in this series, is like of 26 films,
Yeah.
There was a lot of, obviously expectations where, it was like, we're going to be getting a Captain America, like a Luke Skywalker-sized, cameo. And, Paul Bettany was saying, I work with an actor and I've long wanted to work with him. So everyone's, speculating and guessing, is it going to be this, is it going to be that? And it turns out with the whole, Luke Skywalker-sized cameo thing, it was a leading question that Elizabeth Olsen was asked, is there going to be a Luke Skywalker-sized cameo? And she said, there is something. And that was Evan Peters.
Yeah.
And I remember last time we spoke about this, I said, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
If that is it.
That is it.
And it turns out it was fake news, basically. It was misinformation spread. And Paul Bettany was talking about himself.
Yes.
It's very evident.
Getting a scene with himself in the final episode.
Yes.
Beautiful. With the debate between the Hex Vision and the recreated albino Vision. Though I am disappointed with the final episode. I was promised Vision getting shot down by 3 cows. I did not get Vision getting shot down by 3 cows.
What was this?
In the comics.
Really?
Yeah.
What, cows?
Yeah.
Like moo cows?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Expand upon that.
I can't. Because I haven't read it and it's only been told to me by someone else who's actually read the comics and is a bit more of a Marvel fan than I am.
Okay.
He was pretty much saying, oh, they're gonna have to do this, they're gonna have to do it. It would be so amazing to see in the final episode, you know, Wanda using the reality against sword and all that, and then have these cows shoot down the albino Vision. Like, yeah, that would be absolutely hilarious. A nice little homage. I know Marvel likes doing their little, look at that, it's that panel, it's that panel.
That's funny.
Type of deal, but I was more X-Men. I was never Avengers.
Well, I mean, they were a part of the X-Men at times, weren't they?
Yes.
Or vice versa. Yeah, what did you think of Agatha Harkness, Catherine Hahn?
Yeah.
Did you know that was coming at all? I think I might have mentioned it.
Yeah,
because...
I had a feeling. It's like, she's either putting it on or she's actually probably the wild card.
Yeah, it sucks because I'd heard it as a rumour, you know, listening to other people, and I hadn't considered it myself, but had I not and then seen the reveal, I probably would have gone, I know who that is.
Yeah.
So I'm a little disappointed at that point that it was, you know, it turned out to be that way. If only because I spoiled myself, you know. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying, you know, oh, she needs her own movie now, you know, Wanda. But it's like, we've just had 9 episodes where we've had a chance
to... It's like saying Anakin Skywalker needs his own standalone film.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, no, we've had that.
But it's called the prequels, people.
Yeah.
Yes, we have Wanda getting a night. It would be good to see Wanda in more stuff and see her step into the mantle of the Scarlet Witch. However, there's so much that they've got planned, and we all know Feige's got this giant whiteboard going, this, here, marketing, red string, crazy conspiracy wall.
Exactly that. Speaking of the boner in the room, you know, like you were saying, Quicksilver.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. That's his name, we should say. We're not just saying boner.
Yeah. That is actually, that's the character's last name.
Yeah.
What was it, Peter? Or something like that?
I don't know.
It was this mundane name, and then it was just Boner as a surname. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Actor. I was genuinely happy when I saw that twist coming. It's like, oh,
yeah.
Oh, hello.
A lot of people were disappointed with that, of course, but, you know.
I found it hilarious. It's like,
It is. It is.
And then you get the mid-credit scene from the prior episode, you know, creep is gonna creep.
Yes.
People, whatever. It's just...
Yeah, so was he in on the delusion, or was he just an actor?
I think he was in on it.
Yeah.
There would have been no other way for him to be involved.
Yeah.
Because Agatha must have picked someone out at random.
Yeah, what was that, like, necklace or something that...
I think that was giving him...
That's what I thought.
His powers and sort of giving him the appearance of Quicksilver.
Yeah, it just happens so quickly, though.
Yeah,
It's kind of like it's swept under the rug. I mean, Kat Dennings in this as well, you know, talking about swept under the rug. She's really kind of disregarded in the final episode. And this was still getting filmed as recently as like 3 months ago.
Yes.
I remember pictures came out of like the magic show, which was in episode 2, when there's like, you know, Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen in costume doing that. And yeah, it kind of had me thinking, like, you know, maybe she was somewhere else, or COVID, you know, affected, so she couldn't come back for a final goodbye. So they just wrote, oh, she's not good with goodbyes, and that's the last we see of her.
Yeah.
Major overhaul for a character, though. And Monica as well. Again, sort of felt a little swept under the rug a bit at the end.
Okay, so she's going to go see Fury up in space. Good to see that the Skrull are still around.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, I mean, we got a TV show with Ben Mendelsohn and Samuel L. Jackson coming, which is going to be really cool to see. But yeah, I kind of wonder, this does, like I said, feel more like an extended film, that they really relish the opportunities with the sitcom parts to really expand upon those, rather than like an episodic thing.
I feel it works better as series.
Yeah. But split up, do you think? Like week by week? I mean, you were saying you enjoyed it last time, that, you know, it gave you a chance to really speculate. But for me, it just kind of felt like at times it was a movie just like split into chapters as opposed to into segments, like commercial breaks almost, as opposed to sort of...
I definitely enjoy the week release the week by week release there, tongue-tied. And I'm going to feel probably more disappointed with Falcon and the Winter Soldier having to do that, because that to me will feel like it is a film, because they will put, frankly, I feel like it's going to get the most attention with what they've been throwing into it and how much they've been trying to hype it.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that series in the next few weeks on the show. But, I mean, you sort of compare this to the other original series, which is The Mandalorian on Disney+. And that was split into chapters. That was very episodic. It was like, even though you had an ongoing thing. But, yeah, with this, it was sort of more like... I feel like with Winter Soldier, it might go either way. Really.
We'll just have to see, but WandaVision, it goes both ways. You know, it feels nice as a series and a bit of frankly, a better change up than having to go sit in the theater and just...
Yeah.
Now we can just veg out on the couch or whatever, looking at a TV or monitor, whatever device you watch this on, but it does, at times, feel like an extended movie, especially when the aspect ratio changes. I'm still a solid, it's a series, man.
I can see how this would work as a film, but it would really be lacking in a lot of the stuff that makes it special.
Tarantino title card in between each era.
I think just smash into it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of think about like those first 2 episodes, which were about 45 minutes of stuff of, you know, the 50s, 60s sitcom era. That would probably be the first, 15 to 20 minutes of a movie if it was like a 2 and a bit hour long film. And then you would then sort of get an explanation within the first half an hour of what is actually going on with, Sword and Monica and Darcy coming in and Agent Wu, who's great.
Woo.
I remember the speculation because obviously Randall Park's been in a few, sitcoms, most famously played the Asian Jim in The Office.
Yeah.
Great prank. And Kat Dennings in Two Broke Girls, and people sort of thought, if they get caught in this sitcom world, what if there's like meta levels there where they play versions of themselves, but not quite.
Don't see that happening.
Bit on the nose, I think it would have been.
It would have been.
What was your favourite sitcom era that they explored?
Would have to be the 90s. For me, the Malcolm in the Middle era. I was a big fan of Malcolm in the Middle growing up, and it definitely felt a bit more genuine to me than the others. Were the other ones that definitely felt a bit more rehearsed. Yeah,
the Modern Family style one was very Modern Family, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a reason why I haven't watched that show.
No, Modern Family, The Office, Parks and Recs type of deal. The one thing I will really hand the show is it displays the 5 stages of grief quite well.
Yes, this is really about her dealing with the grief of like losing her parents when she was a child, losing her brother a few years before, then losing her husband, her lover. It's really did that well and really made use of the last hour or so of, those last 2 episodes really well.
Yeah.
And I think if this was a film, that would have been so lacking. I feel they really had a chance to go all out and spend time doing that. Though, the final battle, I feel, was a bit of a standard fare.
Oh, yeah.
Throwing lasers at each other and...
Lasers, flying in the sky, CG battle. The one interesting fight I did enjoy was Hex Vision versus Albino Vision with their philosophical debate.
Yeah, the ship of Theseus.
Yes.
Or rather, Trigger's broom from Only Fools and Horses.
Yes.
If you replace the handle and the brush, is it still the same broom? Yeah, I guess that's left the future open to, cow massacre in future.
Yeah, one can hope.
Yes, if
One
you're just
can
tuning
hope.
in, that's cow massacre. What do you mean?
Oh yes, out in the fields north of here, some robots shooting cows.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Would go back and rewatch,
Yeah.
but probably no more than one more time.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to rewatch it all in one hit as well,
Yeah.
and sort of see how. I will say those little teasers. I don't know if it's just sort of hindsight, but they did feel a bit blatant. You had like commercial breaks in between the actual, sitcom portions, which all tied back to something.
I think I loved the ads, if I'm going to be completely honest. The toaster was definitely the most chilling, and just how the ads adapted. But the ads are actually Wanda's brain.
It made me understand it a lot more as the series went on, because I was kind of like, oh, this is going to be, creepy, otherworldly stuff. And then we're going to have, reality slipping in. But whenever that happened, it was really just obvious and no subtlety at all. It was just like you didn't get a feeling of unease. It was just kind of very genuine, earnest sitcom stuff. And then, boom, real world stuff.
Yes.
And that's because of the nature of what it was. It was, the way it was. It wasn't just,
her dealing with trauma.
It was reality smashing through and sort of her having to contend with reality and wanting to push it aside and cope,
Yes.
So yeah, that was good.
It was a good series.
And yeah, both a lead up for Secret Invasion, Captain Marvel 2, and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Probably looking forward to Multiverse of Madness a bit more.
It was Sam Raimi directed, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll definitely be covering that when it comes out.
Yeah. Well, I also wonder as well, because there was meant to be a bunch of movies released last year, which didn't come out. I mean, Black Widow was delayed an entire year, and as was everything else. So
Yes.
kind of makes me wonder how much of this tied into this, and if something was meant to happen, that, if something was maybe changed in post. Who's to say?
Who is to say?
Anyway, final thoughts.
I think I've done enough.
Finish off this episode with a little recommendation. Have you heard of Taskmaster? Not the Marvel villain, but the TV show.
No, I was going to say, when Taskmaster, isn't that when you press Control-Alt-Delete on your keyboard?
Well, yes, that's that. Taskmaster it's a British comedy game show hosted by Greg Davies and little Alex Horn, and it sees a bunch of comedians, actors and presenters take part in a series of comedic and bizarre tasks for our amusement. Contestants in the past have, included Rod Gilbert, Russell Howard, Ashland B, Catherine Ryan, Mel Giedroyc, Joe Brand, Joe Wilkinson, basically whole massive cast. It's on SBS. It's on SBS On Demand.
The UK's Who of comedy.
Yeah, and UK TV as well shows it, on Foxtel.
Yeah.
So up to series 10, I think now, with Daisy May Cooper from This Country and Johnny Vegas and Catherine Parkinson from the IT Crowd. And basically, yeah, it's just a bunch of silly random tasks, and they have to come up with solutions for them. There's never always like an obvious answer, but like an example of one task which really stuck with me with Richard Osman from Pointless. The task was they were in a park and there was this big hill, and they read the task and it says, put these 3 big exercise balls on the yoga mat on top of the hill. So you can imagine all the other contestants are grabbing these exercise balls, which, about 1 meter wide, carrying them up the hill on a very windy day, putting them down on the yoga mat, and they immediately get blown down the hill, and then running up and down. It's very, what's that Greek thing of like pushing?
Oh, I know the one you're talking about. Yeah, they're pushing up the boulder.
So Richard Osman reads the task, he goes up the hill, grabs the yoga mat, brings it back down and puts the balls on it and wins. So that's that task. It's that kind of like thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Sometimes there'll be clues, like, I know with one there in like the lab, and like underneath the table there was actually like a code to a safe they needed to unlock, or like the solution to something. And other things where they have to like be creative and think up the thing, like where they have to do like a quick change outfit in like as quick as possible. So Rod Gilbert, God knows what was going through his mind, dresses himself and Alex Horn in bikinis, and then rips off Alex's underpants, and Alex rips off his top, and that's his quick change. And as Greg Davies points out, you basically just strip yourself. That's not a quick change. And then some other people, you just think like, what are you thinking? This is so insane. And other people really think it through quite well. There was another one as well with Joe Thomas from The Inbetweeners, who obviously starred alongside Greg Davies, where it was kind of like a Metal Gear sort of situation where they had to sneak across this train yard while Alex was ducking in and out of vision, trying to look for him every 10 seconds or so. And just the way he aced that as well, just how he managed to sneak up on Alex without him noticing was... And other people just get there, scream, freak out, immediately spotted. I don't know, it's a really great show. It's on SBS On Demand, and it's on UK TV if you have Foxtel.
I think the SBS On Demand might be a little bit more...
accessible for sure,
accessible for people.
I wonder if it's on DVD. But anyway...
I have to find out.
This has been the Geeks Review. We discussed Chaos Walking, WandaVision, and Taskmaster. I'm Royce.
And I'm Joshua.
And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.